Intel Core Ultra is not really loved among the PC gaming community, but we think that there could be some hidden value, and so today we're going to be testing out the cheapest Core Ultra.
We have the Intel Core Ultra 225F, which is the cheapest CPU you can get on the platform, and also one of the cheapest motherboards to test. Is the cheapest Core Ultra worth it? We're going to find out with multiple graphics cards after a word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Dream Machines. If you're looking for a no compromises high-end gaming laptop experience, then this laptop from Dream Machines has you covered. Rocking specs like the RTX 5090 and Ryzen 9 9950HX 3D with its 16 cores and 32 threads, this gaming laptop does not hold back in the performance department, and that is what Dream Machines is all about. This laptop also features a beautiful 2560 by 1600 mini LED display with a peak brightness of 1200 nits and also being 240 Hz. Having a display like this on a high-end gaming laptop really takes your gaming experience to the next level. Not enough for you? Well, you can purchase an optional liquid cooler to drop your temps while gaming, allowing you to get even more performance out of this gaming laptop. This is a truly peak laptop gaming experience. To learn more about Dream Machines and all the laptops they have to offer, including the one featured in today's ad, check the links in the description down below. And big thanks again to Dream Machines for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get into it, shall we?
So the reason we have 3 GPUs on this table is because we're not just going to build a normal Core Ultra PC and just put one graphics card in it and call it a day. We're actually going to be testing cards that we would actually pair with this CPU. So we're going to go all the way down from the Arc B580 up to the 5070 Ti to kind of see, do we get as much of a drop off as some of you gamers out there think you're going to get? And a lot of you guys just think this is just such a bottlenecked CPU, but it may actually be all right.
Now, what we're not doing in today's video is comparing this to another platform, performance versus performance. We're mainly focused on, if you build a Core Ultra PC with this CPU, what kind of performance can you expect with certain graphics cards? But before we dive into the benchmarking, we gotta talk about the build we put together for around 888 bucks. We'll talk about all the parts, our reasons for picking specific parts for this PC build, and then our testing methodology and how we're gonna determine if the cheapest Core Ultra PC is worth it.
So to kick off the build, we have the Intel Core Ultra 225F. So what this means is that it doesn't have integrated graphics. That's all the F really means. And it's a 10-core, 10-thread. Intel is just all over the place. We still have performance and efficiency cores. It's interesting because you have 6 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores. 10-core, 10-thread, I don't know. Intel's just kind of weird in that regard. I like AMD's scheme a little bit better, but you can get these for around $190 to $210, and the motherboards, which is going to be like a B860 or around that platform, they're very cheap. So there's kind of some hidden value, we think, going this route. Now, interestingly enough, this actually comes with a newer cooler that we haven't used yet. That just shows how much we built with Intel Core Ultra. So not a bad looking cooler. It doesn't have like the big fins that like all the other LGA 1700 coolers had. So I kind of like it. And it's free. It comes with the actual CPU. Now the motherboard is an ASRock B860M X DDR5. So it's a relatively cheap board, 120 bucks. I mean, that's pretty cheap for what they consider to be like the middle of the line chipset. And you know, it's not a bad board. I mean, it actually has VRM covers. What are we looking at? We have we only have 2 RAM slots. I guess that's the big downside. And it's pretty crazy that it actually does have an 8+4 pin, but only 2 RAM slots. So VRM covers, I mean, hey, 120 bucks, I can't complain. You could go with a H810M, but you don't really save that much money, and you might as well go with the better chipset at that point. Now for RAM, we went with Crucial, so this is just some plain black RAM. It's a pretty good deal, 76 bucks, and 6,000 megahertz, and it's CL36, so pretty respectable cache latency, but 76 bucks. DDR5's coming down, guys. Now for the SSD, we have the Klevv Cras 1 terabyte C910. It's a Gen 4 NVMe SSD. Looks like we paid 55 bucks for it, so it's on the cheaper side of Gen 4 SSDs, and pretty good deal.
Now the graphics card that's going to stay in this gaming PC after we do all our GPU testing and going to be sold at PCBros.tech, our PC selling business, is the Intel Arc B580, which we actually played in this video a little while ago. We paid $299 for this graphics card, but these cards are easily available for $259 or $269 for the specific white model that we have here from Onyx, so there is even more value with the B580 now, but we're going to go with the price that we paid for this build, and you can save some money by using those links down below. But the B580 makes a lot of sense because it's the best Intel GPU you can get right now. We might as well pair it with Core Ultra and then scale our way up to an AMD GPU and even better NVIDIA GPU to show you what kind of options you can pair with this CPU. For the power supply, we went with the MSI Mag A650BE, 650 watts, 80 plus bronze. It's a solid power supply to get the job done. We had to do some modifications, and you'll see later in the video, for the higher end GPU because, well, the power supply didn't have the right power that we needed for the 5070 Ti, but we'll talk about that when we get there. But all in all, this is a good power supply coming in around 70 bucks. Very highly rated power supply that works for this PC build, and yeah, there's a lot of different options you can go with, but I would really recommend 650 or greater if you're going to build this PC. And lastly, the case, we have the Okinos Cypress 3 ARGB. This isn't the wood version, which is also the Cypress 3. This is the ARGB version, which has a black up front, so there's no wood accent. You can get that one if you want to, but it doesn't come to RGB fans. And it is a $60 case. It's micro ATX. Again, we love Okinos stuff. They're not even paying for this, but we always shill Okinos. We love Okinos stuff. Their cases are great for the price. You can buy them on Amazon in a wide range of different form factors and styles, and it's really hard to avoid it when we're trying to do a price performance PC. Now, once again, $888 is the price of this PC as is, with everything included. We'll talk later in the video about the platform cost and also a comparable AM5 platform, so you guys at home can determine whether or not you want to go AM5 or this Core Ultra platform. But to test this, we're going to do the following. We're going to do our Let's Play benchmark style, where we play some games live, give you all some fun gameplay to look at, live action, and then we'll do some side-by-side benchmarks as we scale up with each GPU in different games, and you guys will be able to tell by the end of this video what graphics card makes the most sense for the Core Ultra, and we'll also give you our opinion on it after gaming on it. So have some gaming and talk more about it.
All right, so first up, we got the Intel Arc B580 with our Ultra 225. You
can just tell how foreign this is to us. We just don't know how to say the names anymore.
Yeah, medium settings. We do have, let's see, path tracing turned off, and yeah, here's all the settings so we can make sure we get them right. But 1440p, which this card's 1440p capable. I mean, it's 12 gigs of VRAM. Like, it's very ready for 1440p, but this is a very hard to run game, so it's not its greatest example of 1440p.
Yeah.
It's more like 1440p esports, or 1440p like lower settings or like upscaling, you know?
Yeah.
Which right now we're not doing any of that.
Yeah, we'll try some upscaling. Again, this video isn't really a how high of a GPU this combo can handle. It's more of just showing you a couple options. We have the B580, and then we'll go with the 9060 XT 16 gig, which would be a good option to test, to show you guys what we would honestly pair with this platform if we were to plan a whole build around it.
Yeah, so we're looking at, I mean, it was pretty consistent, like what, like 33 to like 38 FPS.
Not amazing.
Yeah, let's see what upscaling options they give us for the old Intel. We got XeSS, that works out good. It's actually their upscaling.
Start performance. We're at 1440, so it won't be as noticeable as 1080p, so let's see if that makes a difference. Oh, there was a flicker for a second there.
Escape again, just in case.
That's a lot more playable.
Yeah. It definitely looks like it's a little, let's see. Yeah, I think it's definitely a little more grainy than it was before, like a little more blurry maybe, but it's not like terrible by any means.
It's definitely playable.
A lot more performance.
Yeah.
I would play like this if I was going to be doing 1440p, definitely. The other way was like, I wouldn't enjoy that, you know, that solo experience, you know? So next up, guys, we're gonna go to a card with a little more VRAM, the 9060 XT 16 gig.
Next.
All right, we are running the RX 9060 XT 16 gig, and we are currently running medium 1440p. Now, we are not using Afterburner. You notice now it's up here because we haven't used the built-in performance metrics because for whatever reason, this game still sometimes just crashes constant with Afterburner, so we couldn't even make it work if we wanted to.
We had the B580 to work, and then we just were doing a recording with the 9060 XT 16 gig, changed the setting, and then it just wouldn't work anymore. But you're seeing the performance is improved though by a good amount on these settings versus the B580. We're getting about like what, 25 FPS, 20 FPS?
Yeah, about 20 to 25 FPS. The response times are still a little higher than I'd like them to be, but definitely more performance here. And you know, that's something we've told you guys before when it comes to like the 580 versus like the 9060 XT, even the 8 gig version is, yeah, you know, you get a little more VRAM with the B580 versus the 8 gig version of this, but even then, the 9060 XT is still just slightly better.
Yep, and we'll try some FSR because we did some XeSS upscaling with the B580, see what the maximum potential is, but again, just showing you another GPU that you could pair with this Core Ultra CPU and the performance you should expect.
All right, so we knew XeS did pretty decent.
Oh yeah.
FSR really goes crazy.
160 to 170, let's go.
And I gotta say too, I know I mentioned, you know, it's probably bad. I don't think Intel's really nuked the quality much. I feel like both of them just made the game just look slightly more grainy, but not too bad.
Yeah, anytime you're running performance, anything below balanced, you're gonna see that graininess with upscaling, so, but.
Especially in such a dark game like this, but. All right, well, let's go ahead and then give another game a test, but there's definitely a pretty decent improvement here. All right, it's the last test, the 5070 Ti, and we're running once again, 1440, no upscaling, medium. We have not been doing any of like the aftermarket ray tracing, just whatever's built in.
I will say, this doesn't feel like as big of a jump as the price would be.
I thought it would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're going, I mean, 5070 Ti's are still what, like
$749.
Yeah, like $750 basically.
From a $379 GPU, we're getting maybe like 30 more frames.
Now I will say the response time's a lot better.
Yeah, it is
I think
better.
we're looking at like 20s. And it does feel smoother. It's just, yeah, Matt's right. The FPS is not quite as big of a jump as you would think. Although, I don't even know, honestly, if you throw like a 5090 in, I don't think this is the kind of game without upscaling to get like tons more FPS. So let's go ahead and try some of the upscaling. We're at about the same point as we have been.
It is important to mention as well, by the way, you all wouldn't notice until now, we're using a different power supply to power this GPU because we realized the power supply we have, while be it the wattage is enough, it's on the lower end, but again, we like to push the limits a little bit here. It didn't have an extra 8-pin, like a pigtail 8-pin, to allow us to use the adapter that would work with the 5070 Ti. So we are using an external power supply right now, so that's important to mention. If you are going to go this high end, you're going to want to go with a slightly better power supply to begin with, because just for wattage clarity, we're only pulling 298 watts. So, you know.
Funny enough, I will say, we're running the, we're doing performance. This looks the best so far.
DLSS seems to be better.
Yeah, like I do not see all that dark graininess.
Yeah.
And also with DLSS, like this is one example of, hey, having that technology. This is a game that gives us frame gen.
Yes.
Which I noticed that, I don't think the other two, once I
Does FSR give you frame gen?
I feel like I don't remember seeing it pop up with the,
Turn on
it
FSR, see if it'll give it. You do get FSR frame gen, yep.
down there, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I just didn't, I don't know, McAllister, I probably didn't notice it before, so. But that's something that I guess we did not get with the Intel card at the least.
Yeah.
I know that much.
Yeah, so you won't have the actual Intel upscaling, but it's looking like this is a good test because at least it could be CPU bound or it could just be this game, but it's looking like this might be the ceiling where the price performance starts to fall off with this 225F. But we gotta test another game to find out. All right, guys, we are now in Clair Obscure. I just fell almost to my death. I don't remember how to go down that. And we're currently running the following settings with the B580. I will say aggressive settings, but we're running high with TSR set to 75%, 1440p on, the high preset. So this is, I would say, very demanding. I mean, I'm using a 5090 laptop on these settings and getting about 90 to 100 FPS against 5090 laptop, but whatever. So this is pretty aggressive for a B580, but we will do some upscaling and see what that is capable of here in just a second. But again, this is just to show you guys, if we were to build this PC, this is what it can do, and then we'll show you guys what it's capable of handling once we swap to a slightly higher end GPU. Yeah, we're getting about 50 FPS in this mode right here, so this is a pretty demanding attack, we'll see. Okay, yeah, holding about 40 to 50 FPS. I would say this is playable. Would I choose this mode? Probably not. Guys have actually played this game more, so I can actually parry.
I remember when you couldn't parry.
Oh, and then I just missed that. Boom, got it. So what happens when you get beat 1,000 times over and over again? You're forced to learn to parry. But this looks pretty good. Let's see if I can change settings on the fly here. Yeah, let's go to graphics and let's just see for the fun of it what the XeSS upscaling looks like on a performance preset. And oh yeah, now we're at 70 to 80 FPS. This is much more of a playable experience for sure.
Yeah, Intel's upscaling's gotten pretty decent.
This is pretty good. And we're talking an all Intel build, which is pretty fun, you know? You can't deny that fact. It's pretty cool to see that the upscaling is working pretty good. And boom. Nice.
And I guess one point of this video too is, so far I don't think we're anywhere near, I don't think we're anywhere near the ceiling for this i5.
No, and even with like the 9060 XE16 gig, you're playing 1440p. Realistically, you should have no problems playing with like even up to like a 5070 Ti level GPU. That'd be like the balanced GPU that makes sense.
But obviously if you go up to like a 5090 or 97XT, it's not like it's gonna make anything unplayable.
Yeah.
You just may start to lose a little bit of the performance gains that you could have if you had like a 9800X3D or an Ultra 9.
Yep. Okay, we're getting a little lag here actually. This is weird. Oh, it's like it's trying to upscale. That was a really weird like lag right there. I don't really know what that was all about. Nope, not yet. Burn? Ah, yes, there we go. Without upscaling, I wouldn't say this is a great experience, but with some upscaling, you're able to get 70, 80 FPS. Let's see what it runs like on the 9060 XT 16 gig, and stay tuned guys, we are testing these two games, but towards the end of the video we'll do some side-by-sides for both GPUs so you can see properly what graphics card might make sense for you with this platform. Same settings as before, we are TSR 75%, 1440p on the high preset. Now this is probably going to be more reasonable. Getting about 60 FPS without any upscaling. So I'd imagine we'll get a lock 60 when we do run some upscaling with FSR, but we'll keep this brief. And oh yeah, we're getting 80 at this point, so this is much more playable, and it's showing that this card is scaling pretty nicely with this GPU. So this is really nice to see. Everyone burn! Everyone burn, burn, burn. Parried. Parried. I was playing for 2 hours yesterday on one boss. It was an absolute struggle. This game is so, like, I love it, but then the boss I was fighting, without spoilers, I was fighting a boss to where it was a 2-phase boss, and then the second phase, it has a hit that is a 1-hit kill for your team. So you can be doing perfect parrying, everything's fine, but then you miss that, it's over. It's all ogre. All right, but now that we're here, let's put some upscaling on to see if we can notice the difference. So let's go down to, where is it? Not TSR. We want, actually we have to run TSR because that's what they have on here. So we'll just go a little bit lower, might as well. We were running basically upscaling to begin with, but let's see here. Oh wow, 100 FPS. Wow. It looks pretty dang good. I like it. And a boom. A boomafoo, a zaboomafoo. 1, 2, oh wait, is that gonna get rid of my overcharge? Oh no, there we go. Oh, this is such a waste, why did I do this? He's shielded, so it's not gonna, okay, it wasn't gonna do anything. But yeah, you guys kind of get it. This guy might die here with this parry that I'm going to do, but 100 FPS, it's showing this upgrade is definitely worth it. If you're gonna play games like this, you're gonna get a lot of extra performance, and looking pretty dang good. Let's go ahead and switch over to the 5070 Ti. Will we see as significant performance uplift, or will we feel like we were reaching the ceiling with this CPU? Well, you saw it in Doom. Let's see what Clair Obscure can do. Okay guys, we're now in the 5070 Ti, and hey, I'm seeing a difference, a big difference. We're not even running any upscaling. I mean, okay, I say we're not running any upscaling. We are running TSR on 75%, but we will just for the fun of it, I'll show you guys what this looks like. But we'll go back to what the settings were before, and we're still getting 60 FPS. It's looking pretty good, and that's without any upscaling. So let's go back to TSR, set to medium like we have been doing for their other tests, and 100 FPS. Pretty dang good. We could run performance metrics to really push this, but I will say this game, we are definitely seeing the difference. But look at the CPU. At some points, we're hitting 99% usage. GPU is a little below 100%, but I still think it's within the levels to where it's handling this GPU pretty good at 1440p.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that this CPU is not too far off from like the 9600X from AMD, which is one that I think Matt and I can agree, you can pair with a lot of GPUs. You can go pretty high end with that.
Yeah, the biggest thing is at this price point and the cost to get into the platform, is it worth going this route versus the 9600X? Without doing a side-by-side comparison, it's not an easy way for us to know that. But knowing how cheap and some of the combos you can get with the 9600X, sometimes getting free SSDs or free RAM or very good deals on motherboards, the motherboard selection on Ultra is just limited. It's still looking like Ultra has a way to go, but if they start getting more affordable, or I start learning how to parry, I did not parry any of those, I missed all of them. I definitely think they're on the right track with this CPU in terms of like what it can handle. But I still think the 9600X is going to be the best bang for buck. I am mindlessly doing this, Mikhail, so don't judge me for what I just did there, because that was not smart. Just to keep things consistent, I will go to DLSS and go to, let's see, we'll do performance, because that's what I was doing before, but we were using FSR before. Well, TSR, there's no FSR in this game. We were doing TSR, and be honest, it is higher for a good amount. I mean, before we were getting
like 100.
Yeah, so it's a little better. It's not dramatically better, but it is a good difference. And we're at 1440p. I probably will be running balanced if I was doing this. There's a tape measure being extended at us right now, and I'm confused.
It's gonna break.
And there it goes. And just like this benchmark, there it goes. Core Ultra does a good job scaling up multiple GPUs, but now we gotta do some side-by-side benchmarks to really compare all of these in a similar test, and we'll see what you all think of the Core Ultra, especially when it comes to the cheapest platform. What GPU would you go with it? We'll talk about that during the outro. Alright guys, now that we finished doing some Let's Play benchmarks, scaling up all the way from the B580 to a 5070 Ti with the Core Ultra 225F, let's see what we can do with some side-by-side benchmarks in the following titles and benchmark tools. We ran Cyberpunk, Marvel Rivals, CS2, and 3D Mark Time Spy. Now with 3D Mark Time Spy, we'll get to that last. We did factor in the price of the PC, including the upgraded GPU, with the last one, the 5070 Ti, needing a little bit more money to get a better power supply to actually run it properly. And if you just invest maybe 20 bucks into a power supply that would support it a little bit better, you'll be fine. So just keep that in mind. The prices will be mentioned when we get to 3D Mark. But first up, we're gonna be starting with Cyberpunk, 1440p high settings with no upscaling. With the Intel Arc B580, we got an average of 72.16 FPS, with a minimum of 61 and a max of 88. While with the 9060 XT 16GB, we got an average of 85.93 FPS, with a minimum of 73 and a max of 102. And with the 5070 Ti, we got an average of 146 FPS, with a minimum of 110 and a max of 182. The scaling seems pretty good here so far. It seems like every GPU upgrade, we're actually getting a substantial improvement in FPS performance, especially at 1440p. So at least in Cyberpunk, the 225F seems to be holding up just fine. Next up, Marvel Rivals, 1440p medium settings with no upscaling. With the B580, we got a 57 FPS average with 1% low of 37. With the 9060 XT, we got an average of 77 FPS with a 1% low of 14. And with the 5070 Ti, we got an average of 129 FPS with a 1% low of 87. The gap isn't as big here in Marvel Rivals, a game that is more of an esports title, therefore it's going to use a lot more of your CPU horsepower, but there is still an improvement when you upgrade from GPU to GPU all the way up to the 5070 Ti. I still think the sweet spot is probably that 9060 XT 16GB on lower details, and you could probably get close to the same FPS you were getting with the 5070 Ti, but medium was the preset we chose, and if you also want to opt for 1080p, you'd probably get even more performance as well. Now speaking of a CPU game, we tested CS2, 1440p low settings to really push that CPU to its limits. We got an average with the B580 of 324.6 FPS with a 1% low of 149.6. With the 9060 XT, we got slightly more FPS with an average of 384 and a 1% low of 161.8. And with the 5070 Ti, we got an average of 409 FPS with 1% low of 147.8. Once again, if you're playing just CS2, the improvement in FPS going from the B580 to the 5070 Ti ain't gonna make much of a difference for you. It is an improvement though, and that's still cool to see, but I would stick with the B580 primarily if you're playing CS2 to save yourself a ton of money. And lastly, our 3D Mark score, which we will be using Time Spy and taking that score and dividing it by the price we pay to the PC to give us a cent per point calculation that allows us to show you guys the price to performance of the PC. How many cents does it cost for 1 point of the score to show you price to performance? That's how our metric works. And with the Intel Arc B580, we went up with a score of 13,675, which is a 6 cent per point score, and that is based on the $888 price point of this PC. Next up, when we go to the 9060 XT 16GB, that score goes up to 15,143, which is also a 6 cent per point score based on the price point of 986 bucks. This shows that the jump to the GPU of the 9060 XT equals the same price to performance as if you stuck with the B580. And then the 5070 Ti ended up with a score of 22,451, which at a price point of $1,348 for the entire build, factoring in about 20 extra bucks for a slightly better power supply, that also gives you a 6 cent per point price to performance scale. So what does that information really mean? It means that every time you upgrade your GPU, your price performance value stays the same. Therefore, we're not getting severely bottlenecked as we go up graphics cards. Is this an exact science? No, but this is a good way for us to see that every single time we're upgrading GPUs, we're not tanking our price to performance, and it shows that the 225F is allowing these GPUs to work really well at 1440p. But before we wrap up this video, I want to bring Jackson back in here during the outro. We got to compare this to something like a Ryzen platform. We're not going to do any benchmarks in today's video, but we're going to show you guys what the cost of a Ryzen platform that we would normally recommend would be, and why we might lean that direction still, even though the performance of the 225F is actually pretty comparable. Let's go ahead and talk about that and wrap this video up real quick.
Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering, what would AM5 get you with the same amount of money? Well, this Core Ultra bundle basically costed about $395 when you count the RAM, the cooler that came with the CPU, the motherboard, and the CPU. So you could get something like a Ryzen 5 7600X along with a B650M, the same RAM, and an SC214XT cooler, which they're only 17 bucks, a little bit nicer than this Intel stock cooler, 392 bucks, so very equivalent on the price front. And Of course, you have a better upgrade path. I mean, technically the 7600X is, I think, it's a little older than the Core Ultra, but supposedly AMD with AM5, they're gonna support it until like 2030. So we have like another 5 years to go. Intel has kind of already basically admitted, hey, the next Ultra series will probably be on a new motherboard. So that's the only downside with this, is if you think you're gonna be one of those people who's gonna like upgrade a lot, you're not really going to be able to in this Core Ultra build.
So we want to hear from you guys. What do you all think of the Core Ultra 225F and the cheapest Core Ultra platform? Do you think it needs to be cheaper for it to be something you would consider? Or do you think it's at a price point where you might consider Intel now? Let us know down below. And if you guys are interested in seeing this PC versus an AM5 platform around the same price, also let us know in the comments down below.
But as always, we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other two YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros, and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
This PC, at some point, will be for sale at PCBros.tech, along with really every video that we do here at the Toasty Bros channel.
PCBros.tech. We sell gaming PCs, we sell gaming laptops, and we also sell Toasty Bros merch, like this build mat and shirts and a bunch of other fun stuff. If you guys ever wanted Toasty Bros merch, PC Bros is where you need to go. Use code Toasty Bros on checkout. You will save 3% on your next purchase. See you guys later. Adios.